Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and all that means is that my Christmas reading starts, and I get super excited just because I don't have to wait till December or like the ending of December for winter to come for me to start my winter reading. I think winter is one of my favorite times of year to read, and Christmas just enables my winter reading to start early. So this is going to be all about the Christmas horror books that I would love to get to this holiday season. One of the first books that I would love to read, I actually came upon by mistake. I didn't know anything about this book, but I was perusing Books a Million last week. I was walking by this stack of books. I think it was like in the YA section, and somebody had just thrown this book on the side, and I saw it, picked it up, saw the illustrations in it, and I was like, I need this book. And that is The Fright Before Christmas. Like I said, I didn't know anything about this book. I hadn't seen it anywhere. It was just sitting like this, like I said, around books. It wasn't even supposed to be there. It wasn't even close to the horror section. So I picked it up, and when I saw some of the illustrations in here, when I saw these, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have it. If you want a more in-depth look at some of the illustrations in here, I did make an Instagram post about this one if you want to go check it out. I love everything that has to do with Krampus and the dark side of Christmas, obviously, and so I think this will just be perfection. I think I'm gonna open up the season with this one because this is like top on my TBR. We have Lucky Girl by M. Rickert, I believe it's the name. This is a Krampus story. We got this last year in one of our Nightworms packages. I want to say it was a December one because it is a Krampus story, but I never got to it. It's a really short one, and really want to read it. Ro, a struggling writer, knows all too well the pain and solitude that holiday festivities can awaken. When she meets 4 people at the local diner, all of them strangers and as lonely as Ro is, she invites them to an impromptu Christmas dinner. And when that party seems in danger of an early end, she suggests they each tell a ghost story, one that's seasonally appropriate. But Ro will come to learn that the horrors hidden in a Christmas tale or one's past can never be tamed once unleashed. Sounds so good. I've heard rave reviews for this one, so super excited to read it. Seasons Creepings, Tales of Holiday Horror. You guys have seen this one in past winter TBRs or Christmas TBRs. This is by Ronald Kelly. I have started this in the past. This is a collection of short stories, and I love short stories in the winter and Christmas time. They are just what fill my soul. It's when I love to read short stories the most, because you guys know I don't tend to like them that much, but for Christmas and winter, they are perfection by the fire. Just a quick little read, especially in Christmas time when everything is so busy. I think short stories come in great. They have just this sense of dread and winter and cold and festivity at the same time that I just love. Ronald Kelly does it great. For this specific Christmas horror TBR, I think I have 2 short story collections. I try to keep them short because I always add a lot of short story collections to my winter TBRs, and then I don't get to them. So I only have 2 that I want to focus on from Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas night. And so this is one of them. Like I said, I have already read a couple of these stories, so I just want to continue on with this. Ronald Kelly just has an amazing way of describing things and making you feel in the scene, and his writing has this sense of nostalgia in it that I just love. So of course, I'm excited to get to this one as well. I bought this book at HorrorCon earlier this year in April, and I saw that it was a Christmas story. I'm like, I don't know why I'm buying a Christmas book all the way now in April, and I've been waiting for December. So I can finally say that Christmas at Wheeldale Inn is on my TBR. I cannot believe the time is finally here. Can we talk about that? Like, just every year, the years are going by quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, and I can't believe we're already at Christmas, or the Christmas season. We're not at Christmas yet because it's not until next month, but so excited to read this. I love Gemma Amor. I love her personality, her sense of humor. I just obsessed with her. This book takes place on Christmas Eve, and it says a horse-drawn coach battles its way through a terrible snowstorm, traveling the old Roman road that cuts across Wheeldale Moor. The carriage bears the miserable burden of Mr. and Mrs. Wilcox. I just love a miserable couple. A formerly well-to-do couple now fleeing London and the threat of debtor's jail, for Mr. Wilcox has been imprudent with the family fortune. Not that Mrs. Wilcox cares much for money. She is still grieving a great loss, a loss that cannot be replaced with any number of riches. As the weather worsens, the carriage is overturned with deadly consequences. Mr. and Mrs. Wilcox find themselves out in a freezing storm, lost, injured, and penniless upon the moors. I'm not going to read any more because that's all I need to know. Like, they are stranded in the freezing cold and need to survive. Those are the vibes I'm getting. And I know I've said that I've been excited for the past 3 books on this TBR, but I'm like really excited for this one as well. This next book has been in a past winter TBR, but I'm really hoping to get to it this year. And I'm hopeful because I am currently in the middle of another book by this author. And so I feel like I'm on a roll and I'm going to want to pick this one up pretty soon. That is Desolation by Christopher Ruffty. All I know is that this does take place on Christmas night, or maybe like the week of Christmas, but it is Christmas time and this father takes this family out to this cabin and I think things go wrong or something of the sort. I think he's like an ex-alcoholic or something, but super excited to read this. It couldn't be a seasonal TBR without adding some kind of R.L. Stine or point horror book or super chiller or fear super chillers, whatever they're called. For this year, I want to read Silent Night 2. I read Silent Night a couple years back. Really enjoyed it, but I don't think I can remember a lot of what happened in that one, so I'm going to have to do like a little summary read of it and then jump into this one. Abandoned by Blake Crouch. This has been on a couple of winter TBRs, and I'm dying to read it. On Christmas Day in 1893, every man, woman, and child in a remote gold mining town disappeared. Belongings forsaken, meals left to freeze in vacant cabins, and not a single bone was ever found. 116 years later, 2 backcountry guides are hired by a history professor and his journalist daughter to lead them to the abandoned mining town so they can learn what happened. Recently, a similar party had also attempted to explore the town and was never heard from again. Now the area is believed to be haunted. This crew is about to discover 20 miles from civilization with a blizzard bearing down that they are not alone and the past is very much alive. So I don't think this book takes place specifically on Christmas, but I think that the events that happened in the past take place on Christmas and then it just follows on. But it looks very wintry. Nonetheless, I definitely want to get to this one this year because, like I said, it's a book that's been on past winter TBRs and I think it's time. I've only read one Blake Crouch book, the really famous one. I think the Pines one. I forget the one that it was, but I only read the first book in that one and I thought it was okay, but the synopsis for this one just really keeps calling my attention. So hopefully this is the year. The rest of the books are going to be ebooks. The first one is The Christmas Bell, and this is by the author L.A. Detweiler. I've had this book, I think since last year when I was researching Christmas horror, this popped up, and I think this has to do with our main character. She's 26 years old, and I don't know if she's going home for the holidays, but all I know is that she's with her mom, they're decorating, and this one ornament just, I guess, turns the story upside down. I don't want to know much else. I think this is a short book. I'm not quite sure. I think it sits at about 150 or so pages. Really curious to see what this book has to offer. Another one that's on my TBR, this is a middle grade fantasy horror book and it is Krampus and the Thief of Christmas. I was searching for Christmas horror again this year because I just, you know, I'm so excited for it that I want to look for new stuff because I don't have enough stuff on my TBR, obviously. And this popped up and the cover just drew me in. I saw it was middle grade and horror and Christmassy and I was like, I need to have it because the middle grade books, the middle grade horror books that I have usually tend to take place in the fall or in like some kind of spooky season. So I was super excited that I could finally add a holiday horror middle grade book to my TBR. Let's get to the other short story collection that I have for the season. It is Spirits of the Season Christmas Hauntings, and it's stories from the 1860s to the 1940s. I think those are some of the creepiest Christmas horror stories you can find, those that are like back in the day when we're just creating traditions and just creating all these ghost stories and hauntings. They just tickle me pink. So super eager to get to these short stories. And then I have two super short stories that I just wanted to add to my TBR. I just found them a couple days ago as I was creating this TBR, and one sits at 15 pages, the other one sits at 20, so how could I not add those to my TBR, especially knowing how much I love the shorties for Christmas. The first one is Eve, a Christmas short horror story by Matt Shaw. This is the one that sits at 15 pages. The cover drew me in. I didn't even read the synopsis because I was like, at 15 pages, I really don't care. It's a bomb-ass cover. I like Matt Shaw's work, and so let's do it. And then the other one was a no-brainer as well, just because it is by Joe R. Lansdale, and he is one of my favorite authors. This one sits at 20 pages. Mammoth Books presents Christmas with the Dead, and I found it funny because as I was researching this book, when I saw the cover pop up and I saw that it was Joe R. Lansdale, I went to search, and I don't know where it is that I saw this, but basically he wrote this book because he just wanted to write a Christmas horror story, and so he did so. And I just love him, so of course, I have to read this one. This is another one that I did not read the synopsis for, and I was just like entranced by the cover. So those are the books that I would love to get to this holiday season, the Christmas horror books. Of course, you guys know that I read out of every genre, but horror is my most read genre. But I do have Christmas romances on my TBR, and I also have a few cozy fantasies as well, and of course I have cozy mysteries on my TBR as well. These are just my horror books, my loves, the ones that ignite my winter reading is always horror. So I do have more books than this. I don't know how much I plan on reading this holiday season. There's only but so many days, and unless I read a book a day, I don't think I will get through my entire holiday TBR. Do you like to read Christmas themed books during the holiday season, whether it be romance, fantasy, horror, thrillers, whatever it is? Do you read Christmas themed books? And if you do, let me know if you have set your TBR already and what is on that TBR if you have. Let's chat books in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!